Hey there Excel users, welcome to my SQLPowerTips channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can import a single worksheet or multiple worksheets of your Excel workbook into SQL Server. So I've got this Excel workbook and it's got three worksheets: Orders 1, Orders 2 and Product Category. So for Orders 1, you've got the Orders ID column which uniquely identifies each row in the table in the worksheet, and you've got order date, then you've got required date, ship date, shipper, and product category ID. The product category ID is a code for the name of the product category, and you can get that by doing a VLOOKUP against this worksheet product category, and that will bring across the name. But for the table itself, to represent the name product category, an ID is being put. Then you've got unit price, and you've got quantity. Orders 2 is exactly the same as orders 1. Then you've got product category. That's the dimension table of the product category and names for the product category ID. And you also notice for orders 1 and orders 2, there's a gap between the name orders and the number orders 1 and orders 2. So when you're importing Excel data into SQL Server, you don't necessarily have to have the source Excel workbook closed. So I'm going to keep it open in this demonstration. So go to your SQL Server instance. Then in your databases folder, you choose which database is going to be the target database that you're going to be importing the Excel data into. I've chosen this database, mixed data. Now, if you expand the database folder and then you expand the tables folder, that lists all the tables within the mixed data database. Now, you can't import the Excel data via the tables folder. So if I right click, there's no option to do the import. You need to go into mixed data, the actual database. And so best thing to do is collapse the entire folders of mixed data, your target database, and then right click mixed data. Then you choose tasks. Then that opens up another menu, a sub menu. Then if you go towards the bottom, there's two import options here. Import flat file, that is for importing CSV files and Excel and text files. And import data is for importing Excel files, a single worksheet or multiple worksheets or SQL Server tables. We click on import data and just wait a few seconds, and then the SQL Server import and export wizard splash screen opens. Click on next. And so the next part of the wizard is you need to choose the data source. So this first drop down, click on the drop down and click on Excel, which is the very bottom option. Then Excel asks, the SQL Server wizard asks for the path of the file. So click on browse and then choose the source path of your file. Click on open. Then the next drop down, it asks which Excel version was your Excel workbook created in. I created it in Excel 2016, and you choose your particular version of Excel that you created your Excel workbook in. If your version is later than 2016, then just select 2016. The checkbox first row has column names, leave that checked. Then click on next. So now that you've sorted out the source, we need to choose a destination. Click on the drop down here, and the source, the destination is going to be SQL Server. So you click on the very last option, SQL Server native client. The version number might be slightly different compared to mine compared to yours. So click on that. Then it asks for the server name, which has already been populated, which should match the server name of your target database. Authentication, Windows authentication, leave that default as it is. Database, click on the drop down, or if you're happy with this target database, mixed data, that's fine. But here, if you click on the drop down, you can choose an alternative database here. Click on next. The next part of the wizard is a specified table or copy or query. So leave the default setting, copy data from one or more tables of views. Click on next. And so SQL Server has detected the worksheets in your Excel source. And as we saw earlier, there's three worksheets: orders 1, orders 2, and product category. I want to import all three worksheets, so put a checkbox against each one. Then you notice that the next part of the destination, it tells you the name of the file, the name of the Excel data worksheet, how it's going to appear as a table in SQL Server. Now, because there was a gap between the name orders and the number one and orders two, what SQL Server does, it wraps it around a single apostrophe, and because you can't have in table names, you can't have gaps. So what we need to do is to fill the gap is you can put a underscore in orders in one, and then you can um, delete the apostrophe at both ends, and you can also delete the dollar sign as well. So that's a legal name now. So we've got orders underscore one. There's no gaps. That's a legal name for SQL Server table names. And do the same thing for orders two. Get rid of the apostrophe and the dollar. And for the last one, product category, just take off the dollar. So at this stage, you can also preview your data. So for orders one, if you just click on the preview button here, you can see how your data is going to look like once it's imported. And if you're happy with it, then click on OK. I'm going to show product category as well and do a preview of that. So the Excel data has been correctly recognized by SQL Server with the 9 categories. Click on OK. Click on Next. For this page of the wizard, leave the setting run immediately. Click on Next. And this is the last page of the wizard and tells you what options you've chosen during the wizard. And if you're happy with that, click on Finish. So SQL Server is proceeding to doing the import. So it does all these pre-steps before it starts doing the import. So you wait until it's all completed. Let's say performing operation. And it also shows you the number of steps remaining. So all the data has been imported successfully. And then it says at the top, the message execution was successful and success. And you also notice the number of rows is also shown that's being imported into SQL Server. And click on close. So the import successfully completed now. So we need to go into SQL Server and your target database, mixed data, right click and click on refresh. And then you open up the mixed data or your target database folder. And then you open up the tables folder, the subfolder. And then you'll notice that you can see your 3 new tables appearing or any table that you've chosen for your import. Now to verify that the number of rows in the table matches the number of rows in the Excel worksheet source, you right click your new table and then click on select 1000 rows. That selects the top 1000 rows of your Excel data that's now in SQL Server. Now in the case of orders 1 and orders 2, there's 4000, around about 4000 rows. So if you want to see all the rows, then just remove the top 1000 part of its SQL code, and again you press execute. And then if you look at the bottom left here, bottom right here, you'll see that the number of rows is shown as 4000. You can also delete all the columns and then replace it with count, and then put a open the brackets and put an asterisk, and then you type from, so it's got select, then count, then open brackets asterisk, then close brackets, then you type from, then you put in the name of the database, mixed data, then the name of the table as it appears in the tables folder, and then you click on execute. That also shows that the number of records is 4002. And you can do that quickly for the other table as well. Orders 2, execute, and for which is fine, 4002. And for product category, there's only as we saw earlier, there's only 9 rows, so we can right click and then choose 1000 rows, because 9 is less than 1000 rows. You click on that option and you'll see that the number of rows is 9 and the records are all matching within the SQL Server table compared to Excel. So thanks for watching, and watch out for my next video where I'm going to be showing you how to import CSV or text files or Excel CSV files into SQL Server.